Back to the G20, a very exciting moment for Saudi Arabia and a moment of hope and looking forward to the future. But at the same time, it is clear from what we've heard over the past few days that human rights issues are still at the fore when it comes to Saudi Arabia. I want to talk briefly about Lujaina Al-Hathul. She is still in prison. When will she be released, and why is she in prison in the first place?
She will be released when the court, when the legal process plays out, her case is being reviewed by the courts, and then once she's released, then she will either be punished or she'll be released. It's up to the courts. The decision to detain her had to do with national security issues and not with the advocating the right of women to drive. If every woman in Saudi Arabia that advocated to drive would be put in jail, then half the ladies in Saudi Arabia would be detained by now.
Why is she a national security issue?
It has to do with national security. It has to do with taking funds from foreign powers and giving them to hostile powers. It has to do with trying to recruit people in sensitive position in order to obtain sensitive documents and give them to powers hostile to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is what the public prosecutor said when the detention was made, and I believe that the rest of the evidence will be made public, I expect, by the court once the verdict is rendered. Because under our system, the courts generally provide the details of the charges after a verdict is rendered.
But she's not been given access to her family. She's not able to make phone calls. There are allegations of various forms of abuse of her in prison. She's currently, I believe, on hunger strike as a consequence of all this. I mean, just broadly, sir, as a minister, this doesn't look good for Saudi Arabia, does it? This is a woman's rights, a female rights activist.
On what basis do you say that she wasn't granted all these rights? Because I believe that our security officials dispute that in terms of no contact and in terms of hunger strike and in terms of abuse and in terms of this issue was taken very seriously by the leadership of my country, and His Majesty and the Crown Prince ordered an investigation into the issue, the allegations of abuse, of torture. And so on what basis do people say this? As far as I know, this is not correct. She is detained like other detainees. She is facing trial, and when the trial is over, she will be found guilty or found innocent. It's up to the courts. And if she should be found guilty, I would expect, and generally this is what the courts do, is that the evidence will be made available.
Can I invite you to reflect a little on the Trump presidency? It is over 4 years. How will Saudi Arabia remember 4 years of Donald Trump?
Well, technically it's not over. It's another 2 months. But the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has a bipartisan relationship with the United States. Our relationship was started between King Abdulaziz and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a Democrat. It continued through every Democratic and Republican administration, and it has grown stronger and stronger with each decade. I believe that the United States, I know the United States has interests around the globe. Saudi Arabia has interests around the globe. Our interests are aligned, and those interests are not going to change. And we look forward to working with any American administration to further those interests.
The interests might not change, but the strategy of a Biden administration might be somewhat different. I mean, he is going to have a different relationship with Saudi Arabia in the same way that he's going to have a different relationship, perhaps a less warm relationship, with Israel, for example. I mean, how do you expect the next 4 years to differ from the last, and are you worried about them?
I believe President-elect Biden was in the Senate for 35 years, and he was vice president for 8 years. He has tremendous experience. He knows the world. And everybody, I believe, that he's going to appoint in his administration are people that we are likely familiar with and have worked with extensively over the years. So I'm not concerned about the change in the American position or American policy. What happens is, from one administration to the other, the articulation might differ, but the implementation really doesn't.
I wonder what your view is on the fact that Donald Trump is insisting he actually won the election, and the idea of a President-elect Biden is not true. He is still and will remain the president.
As a foreign official, I don't believe it makes sense for me to comment on the internal deliberations of the United States, and especially when it comes to elections with constitutional matters. I will leave that to my friends in the United States to resolve.
So you're fully expecting a President Biden come January the 20th next year?
We will see. I can't, like I said, once the election is certified, we will know who the president is.